Alright, today we're talking about is it wise to date a modern day military waifu. So basically to qualify for this list, she has to be in the military, she has to have worked with tanks, guns, bullets, you know, the works. And she got to be bad. Now talk about Balalaika, you fool. You respect me in this intro, I ain't doing shit. You gonna do what I say you do. Who gonna stop me, Knight? Oh, you trying to test me? You trying to test the gangster inside? Pull the trigger, man. Pull the trigger. No balls. Do it. Hey, your voice. I hate to interrupt my hood like squabble, but I think we out of bullets, man. No more bullets? No more bullets. Aw, snapples. Hey, did I hit you? Ha! No. Did I hit you? No. Ha! Your aim sucks. What you mean my aim sucks? Bitch.
Eventually.
Alright, voice, stop. We should be out here fight like hoodlums. We ain't even hood people. We from the country, cuz. Then what should we do? Fight like white people? Nah, they just as bad. Alright, what about Indians? Nah. Alright, Hispanics? Nah. Canadians, come on. How the hell they fight? Probably very un-American-like. Nah. Okay, Japanese. There we go. They're just like us. Just like us. Except they have squinty eyes, they're shorter, and they speak a completely different language. But other than all that, they're just like me for real. Okay, Knight, how do we start? Do we just bomb Pearl Harbor or something? No! Articulate to me in one word why you think Balalaika is the best military waifu. And I'll articulate why, you full of crap. Okay, well, one, she's Russian. Oh my god. Oh, well, who's your choice? Who do you think? Alright, we're proving a few words what makes her better. Too easy. You ready for this? Was ready yesterday. Okay, here we go. Sucking lips. What? Think about it. Think about it. God, I can't stand your ass. Hey, don't run. Admit the truth. Never! Alright, story time, motherfucker. Once upon a time, I too was in the military. Oh yeah, I was in the infantry for 7 hellish years. And the only thing you didn't know is that it all sucked. And also, all my 7 years of being in the military, I never dated. And that's mostly because I was in the infantry. And in my infantry unit specifically, we were all men. And if there was a woman around, you can bet your ass she wasn't doing what I was doing. And she was more likely in the air-conditioned office with the higher ups flirting. Now I would love to sit here and say there was badass women in the military who were rucking, doing push-ups, running the lanes with guns like I was with big heavy guns. But as far as I experienced in my infantry unit for 7 years, no, that's not the case. Now I can say there are probably a few badass military women that are out there, maybe in the Marines or in special forces, maybe. But that's a stretch. The majority of women in the military, just like in normal everyday life, are nowhere near as badass as strong as they are in fiction. In fact, it's quite the opposite. They're very weak, almost to the point where it's sad, and they're very likely very fat and out of shape. What I'm saying is, real life military isn't like G.I. Joe. The majority of females are not going to be in combat units, they're going to be in the office in the air condition. Now I'm saying this based off what I've seen for those 7 years I was in the military. I went on deployment once, which was basically going out of the country to, you know, other places. And this was during COVID time period, so around 2020. There was a time period where my unit was around the most women, but most of them were not in an infantry unit or a combat unit. Most are probably medics and probably doing transportation or etc. Anyway, one of the main reasons I didn't date was mostly because I was trying to stay out of trouble. As infantry soldiers, we were known to be the grunts, killers, and most of us were very physically fit. But just like many other parts of the military, we had issues with sexual assaults. Now, I've never seen it happen, but it was always talked about. And basically, when we were talked to about sexual assault, it was basically always a warning like this.
Looking at the white girl is a foul. Speaking to the white girl is a technical foul. And touching the white girl, now that's a...
You get the point. They did not want us sexually assaulting no woman, but they clearly expected it. Now this may sound stupid to a civilian, but let me clue you in. If your girl's in the military without you, she's gonna be around a whole bunch of muscular, fit men, and some will outrank her if you catch my drift. A lot of sexual assaults happen by a person who is near the woman's rank or one above it. In fact, by doing a little bit of research, I found that women get sexually assaulted in the military more than you would think. But my main point is, even though it may not happen, because it doesn't happen to every woman, it very well could, which is why it is a con. Now my next con though is a lot worse and honestly a lot more likely to happen, and that is infidelity or just straight up cheating. And both those words mean the same thing, so why did I say it like that? Cause you dumb as bricks? Shut your ass up! Anyway, cheating. When is this likely to happen for a female soldier? More than likely, on deployment. Now deployment in the military context is basically the movement of armed forces and their associated logistical support to a location outside of their normal duty station. Or basically, in short, the individual or an entire unit is being sent to a different location to do a job. Now deployments can last from 6 to 12 months or somewhere around that range. Mine lasted for what it felt like a year, but mine was extended because of COVID. So yeah, basically around a year at the most. And that's a long time for your girl to be away from home and away from you. Meanwhile, she's gonna be around a whole bunch of muscular, strong, fit guys that are making plenty of money, and they're all gonna be horny, stressed, and filled with anxiety and depression. So let's be honest, this is the perfect place for a female military woman to cheat if she wanted to. And I mean, I'll be honest with you, I've seen many girls get pregnant during deployment just randomly. And to make it worse, they got pregnant with ugly men and they were ugly women. None of these people were good looking, yet all of them were getting laid. Your girl could be getting the military approved back shots by everybody in the chow hall line. And if you're a civilian, there ain't nothing you can do about it but sit back at home and cry. But now, if you were a soldier too, the chances of her cheating would probably go down a lot, but you're not always gonna be with her. More than likely in that situation, you're probably gonna have different jobs and different times you work. And the cheating becomes even more likely when you add alcohol. Oh yeah. Now soldiers aren't always allowed to drink, especially on duty, but when they are allowed, things can get a little bit crazy. Especially if she's in the infantry or some kind of combat unit where there's gonna be mostly guys. If that's the type of situation we're talking about, you, sir, are cooked. Jody, Tyrone, the sergeant, the platoon sergeant, the first sergeant, the private's dog, has clapped your girl's cheeks for America. Fuck yeah! Tragic. But cry on your own time. Until then, listen up. Even though the reality of a military waifu may suck, it's not all bad. One pro is the military waifu may be disciplined, and she may be able to handle responsibility better and more maturely than the average woman. And one of the best pros, she may also be very physically fit. Now, like I said before, they're not all like this, but there are a good handful of military women who are very fit. And even though they very likely couldn't take out a whole platoon by themselves, they probably could still kick most men's ass, or at least most average guys. In martial arts, there's weight classes for a reason. I fought women in kickboxing who were pretty good at fighting, but the one problem they had was that they were too small. They had the skill, but they didn't have the power to back it up. It was basically like fighting a very sexy pillow, and you best believe I did hit that. Anyway, last pro, and it's probably one of the best pros that many people don't really think about. It's the benefits. A military woman who is married could have benefits like healthcare, housing allowances, access to military installations and facilities, education, career support. Now again, this is only if you're married to her. And there's more. You can receive access to free gyms and libraries. Plus, you can get free counseling, tax services, military discounts, and also to you're married to a woman or a man in the military, you can get something called a basic allowance, or a BAH, which can cover your housing costs. And some spouses may receive special allowances or bonuses depending on the service member's deployment, pay grade, and job. I ain't gonna lie, this sounds pretty good. It almost makes the possible cheating and sexual assault almost worth it. Oh wait, I'm forgetting something. Hold up. Oh yes, death. How can we forget that, right? It's the military. Of course you could die. Don't worry though, from what I've read, she's more likely to die from unaliving herself than from actual gunfire or combat. The suicide rates in the military are extremely high, and that's because your military waifu is probably filled with anxiety, depression, her back hurt, her feet hurt, she's tired from working long, unforgiving hours, all of her Monster Energy drinks has run out, she's hungry and it's not lunchtime yet, and to top it all off, she's working outside and it looks like rain. Yeah, like I said before, the military sucks. I fight depression and anxiety every day, like the Doomslayer fights demons. But I'm a man, I'm used to sucking it up. And I laugh most of my problems away because naturally I'm a very goofy person. But every soldier handles anxiety, depression, PTSD, and their own personal mental health issues in very different ways. Matter of fact, I once knew a soldier who would smoke a pack of cigarettes every hour, a whole pack. My brothers, that's 20 cigarettes. 20 cigarettes every hour. And to be honest with you, I'm not even really sure if he's still alive. He was already really not the most healthiest person in the world. So yeah, a soldier unaliving themselves or picking up unhealthy habits like smoking or drinking is a very real thing for military people. And also, just to make this very clear, if she's gonna be gone for a very long time, like on deployment, it's gonna be very hard for you to connect with her. Long distance relationships suck, and it can get very lonely for a man or a woman if they don't see their partner in a very long time. Even with all the benefits and the very possible sexiness of the military waifu, I have to say, dating her would still be a struggle. And it would definitely not be easy on you or her emotionally or mentally. However, if theoretically you were dating a waifu in fiction, would that make these problems irrelevant? Duh. Do you really think that any man is going to be struggling with mental issues and loneliness with Esdeath? Well, obviously maybe not loneliness because she does seem a little bit clingy. Exactly, Knight. She's perfect. Perfect. I wouldn't say all that. She's hot, but I wouldn't say she's perfect. She did enslave a guy and then immediately kill him afterwards, right? Oh, yes, she did do that, didn't she? Huh. It should be me, not him! It's not fair! My brother, we are black and Esdeath is sadistic and crazy. And slavery is wrong! But she make it look so good, Knight. She make it look so good. Ugh. Don't make that sound ever again, please. No promises. Okay, let's back up for a second. I misspoke. Esdeath didn't technically enslave a guy. In fact, it's actually worse. In the story, she was sent to subjugate the northern tribes by the Empire. And during her conquest, she buried 400,000 of its people alive and broke the hero Numa Sekai, and that's this guy, and this is what he apparently looked like before his mind was broken. She broke his sanity and his pride, and she forced him to strip naked and lick her boots before killing him. Now, I don't care what you guys say, I don't care what he says. Esdeath will be awful today. That's because you're weak, Knight. Esdeath only likes us strong men. You too soft, squishy, not good enough. That's besides the point. Even if she does think you're strong, she has this possessive attitude about relationships. In fact, when she met one of the main characters, Tatsumi, in the tournament, she thought he was plain strong, and she immediately fell in love with him. But you know what her next move was? It wasn't to go talk to him or flirt, oh no. She immediately snapped the collar around his neck and knocked him out and took him back to her headquarters. She kidnapped my boy. Now I know there's some simps out there that will be like, oh, this is the dream, this is perfect. But her whole idea of love seems to be to dominate. And she gets this whole might is right philosophy from her father. The philosophy he taught her was basically the strong will survive and the weak will die. This philosophy made Esdeath into who she is today. A manipulative, barbarous sadist who lacks empathy for people whom she deemed weaker. And more than likely she would not be wise today because she sees love as domination. She'd more than likely try to break you like this guy. And if you showed any weakness, she may kill you. And I forgot to mention, before she became the leader of the Jaegers, she was a high-ranking general in the Empire. And this Empire is corrupt as The Emperor is a child and his right-hand man is a manipulative mastermind. And he's fat, so you know he's evil. And Esdeath has even stated if the Empire were to fall, she would simply start a war herself to satisfy her own need for bloodshed. This chick needs to be stopped. Yeah, but not, you forgot that she's also a good leader, and when she fell in love with Tatsumi, she seemed to love him unconditionally. She didn't even know Tatsumi when she met him. She was getting to know him by kidnapping him and trying to seduce him. Voice, let's be honest, the only reason you like her because she's hot. She had all that strength and power and was even able to stop time with her abilities. And guess where she is now in the story, Voice? Huh? You remember that? Guess where she is now? Well, yeah, she's dead. She died by unaliving herself when she found out that Tatsumi was dead. And even though she killed thousands of people before she died, she stated that her only regret was not getting Tatsumi to return her feelings for him. Now don't get me wrong, she's a very beautiful woman, but she's a tragically stupid character. And if she was in the real military, she would have been court-martialed and locked up a long time ago. Stop it simping for a woman just because she's hot, Voice. You'll end up dead just like this. I hear you. And I still say, worth it. Okay, well then it's your funeral. Alright, Voice, we're gonna talk about the woman from Attack on Titan, or at least some of them. So you gotta promise me that you will not get upset about— Here we go. Look, no one wanted the potato girl to die, but she obviously died for the plot, or more or less for dramatic convenience. People liked her character, so that's why she had to die. Or that's more or less the reason why the author chose her to die. Look, shut up! Your tears ain't gonna bring a bad Gabby. Little snot-nosed. Are you done? No, but I'll stop for now. And you better say she's worth it. There is nothing wrong with Sasha Bros, but she is a compulsive food hoarder, and she does seem to love meat a little bit too much. Nah, Knight, that's a pro. You know what? You right. That woman eats like her life depends on it. Now, as far as Mikasa Ackerman, there's nothing wrong with her either. If you didn't know this, the Ackermans in this show have powers. They have the unique ability to exhibit Titan-like powers without transforming into Titans. And Mikasa herself has some form of super strength, speed, agility, and good reflexes. She also has an ability described as knowing exactly what is needed to be done. She has great fighting instincts and perfect self-control over her body, and this self-control is far above that of an average human. She was also able to connect to every single Anchorman before her via the paths and gain the battle experience. But after Eren's death, her awakened powers ceased to exist. So nothing really bad to say about Mikasa besides the fact that her story is very sad. Now, any Lionheart is a different story. Now, this doesn't have to do with her betrayal, but this does have to do with her Titan powers. Titan shifters in this series only live for about 13 years, and this is only after they're given the Titan ability. But after Eren died, the powers of the Titans was eliminated from the world, and all the aliens returned to their human forms. Now, I don't know if this makes a whole 13 years thing null and void. All I can tell you for sure is that 3 years after Eren's death, Annie Longheart is still alive. So maybe Eren's death did keep her from dying after 13 years of having the Titan powers. I'm not really sure about that. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. Now, other than all that, I think personality-wise, Annie is alright. I mean, she's not the most friendliest person in the world, but I would describe her as someone who is, well, cool and hot. Yeah, she is pretty hot. She's hotter in her Titan form, though. Voice, what? Alright, Voice, last two. Olivier Armstrong and Balalaika. And I refuse to say her Russian name because that is way too long for me. Coward! It's not cowardice, it's Russian. And Armstrong is better. Armstrong may have better lips, but she is not a better soldier than Balalaika. Balalaika is a veteran of the Soviet War in Afghanistan. She's a fine marksman and sniper, which is how she got her nickname, Balalaika. And she was in the Soviet Airborne Forces where she received special training. Oh, whatever. That special training didn't help her at all when she was getting tortured. Now, I can't really pronounce who tortured her, but it was the Afghan Mujahideen. I think that's right, dumbass. Shut up! She was tortured for over a month after being captured in Afghanistan, which she apparently survived and escaped from. That's no small feat. Yes, but sometime afterwards, she was cast aside by the Soviet Union. And sometime afterwards, she became a mafia leader. To be more specific, voice, she joined a global crime syndicate, Hotel Moscow, in Moscow, where she crushed many people to get to the top. And that takes a lot of skill, that's all I'm saying. Look, I know war in the military sucks, but she's a thug now. A sexy thug. Check this out.
では、ロシア大使館の方から以外の電話は取り継がない形でよろしいのですね。ミス・ブラティレーナ。
はい、どうもありがとう。
ご用命の際はぜひご指名を。
可愛い盛りだな、あれくらいのは。さて、軍曹。
It should have been me!
Will you stop it? It's never gonna be you. But it should have been Knight. It should have been. And couldn't you have found that clip in English? Hey, the viewers can read unlike some of us. Oh, screw you, furball. Anyway, last one. Olivier Armstrong. And unlike Balalaika, she doesn't need to be a thug because she's still in the military and she's rich. She's the eldest daughter of the Armstrong family, and apparently her and the youngest didn't get her dad's genes at all. Thank you, God. Bruh, are those two women? Look, all I can say is some people were born with shortness and beauty, and others are apparently born with height and muscle, but nothing else apparently. Her brother still has a great mustache though. Oh hell yeah, that guy's cool. Now Olivier is a general of Fort Briggs, which means in her case, she's in full command of the whole fortress. And if we're looking at this realistically, that's probably multiple companies and platoons under her command. Even if her main family wasn't rich, she would still be making plenty of money. She's also very skilled with her family heirloom sword. She's so skilled in fact with this sword that she can even defeat her younger brother Alex Armstrong. And I mean, she had this guy pinned down to the ground choking him. Plus, she can hold her own against the homunculus Sloth. Now I have to mention she was not winning this encounter at all. Sloth is a homunculus with incredible strength and speed, and he's able to take small arms fire to the body and apparently is only staggered by a rocket launcher. But he does have weak points, and Armstrong was able to tell what these weak points were and use that to her advantage. And as far as personalities go, she's just as ruthless as Balalaika. Now, also like Balalaika, she respects her man around her. Are you finished? No, I actually got one more thing to say. Dating Olivier Armstrong will probably be like dating a rich, wealthy, very attractive woman in the military. And dating someone like Balalaika will probably be like playing GTA 6 on hard mode, or more or less the game Mafia. You're more likely to die in her company than to get a chance to hit that. You have to admit, Olivier is the safer option. Safe? I don't want safe.
I want problems, always!
What the hell? Sorry, I went full African black for a second. Okay, well, ignoring that, tell us what you think in the comments, viewers. Who's your favorite on this list? And who do you honestly think is the best on this list? And tell us which waifu you want us to talk about next. And you guys have a great day. It's Balalaika. It is not Balalaika. It is hey, don't point your gun at me. And you know it. That gun at me. Aw, crap. Are we still out of bullets? Apparently. God damn it. All right, voice, calm down. Let's just agree that Sasha is one of the best choices on this list, right? You like Sasha? No, I choose to be petty. Voice, what the?